Hello everyone, this is CenRex from the Order 66 Hellions, and this is my first roster review on Mola Ram. Going through the itinerary today, I'm going to have a few points. First, I'm going to go over the overall account. Second, I'm going to talk about general strengths and weaknesses that I see in the account. Third, I'm going to talk about GAC. Fourth, I'm going to talk about farming, characters, and Omicrons all in one. 7, I'm going to talk about mods and Datacrons. And then 8th, I'm going to say, if I was you, what would I do with your account? So the overall account overview, it is 7.2 million GP with 3 Galactic Legends. They've got Jabba and JMK, which are probably the best 2 Galactic Legends in the game, other than Lord Vader when he's paired with Reva. And thirdly, they've got Sith Eternal Emperor. They have a Relic 9 Executor fleet with very, very, very good relics on their pilots. They've got both their BAM and their Cad Bane up to Relic 7. They're farming Profundity and Jedi Master Luke, and it looks like maybe they're getting a little close to Lord Vader. He's kind of third on the list. They've got a Gear 13 Starkiller, a Maul who's Gear 12, so I'm not really factoring him into my analysis as he's probably not been very well used yet. They're in a Rhodium 2 for GAC, 2,832, which is pretty high, but this account could definitely push higher. And they average first in fleets, which is really, really huge. A lot of people that have pretty much anyone that has Executor, Profundity, or Leviathan has the potential to climb to first in fleets every day. And if you have the potential to do that, you really should, because it's 400 free crystals. And lastly, their mod quality is a 3.8 according to Hot Utils. Let's talk about some strengths and weaknesses. Strengths, mods. A 3.8 mod score compared to the vast majority of the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes player base is excellent. A lot of people that are in the 7 to 8 mil GP range have really not started to focus on their mods quite yet, so you'll see a lot of scores around 1.8 to 3, but since you're in a competitive guild that is my guild, your mod score is certainly a lot higher than the average in that range. Second, you've got Jabba and JMK, 2 of the best Galactic Legends in the game, minus, again, the Lord Vader with Reva combo, which are going to help you tremendously in Territory War and GAC. And then third, for a 7.2 million GP player, this roster is incredibly focused. You have a lot of relic characters, very solid mods, and a few Datacrons. Let's go through the weaknesses. Datacrons, you've got 3 very strong Datacrons, but with very little depth after that. Next is your GAC score. Your GAC score is certainly solid, but it's definitely stagnant over the months. And then third, you have no progress on Inquisitors, which are probably my favorite team in the entire game. You should definitely consider farming those in order to stay competitive in Territory War, Grand Arena, as well as prepare for that Reva mission because she is good. Let's talk about GAC first. So what you're doing, I see in your GAC history, you're missing a lot of GAC. About 30% of the time, you're totally just not attacking, which I can diagnose this pretty quickly. I think that in a lot of these scenarios, you come up and you see that your opponent's already attacked and they've scored 12 to 1,400 banners. They've almost full cleared you, or they have full cleared you, and this is because you're setting a mild defense. Now, as a person like myself who's pretty busy, I don't have time every single GAC to consistently score 1,400 banners to defeat my opponent. That's why I think you should definitely switch and follow my GAC guide and set a lot tougher of a defense. Second, I've been seeing that you're using Jabba on offense, which is not something that I would do. Again, he's an amazing defensive team, so I would definitely use him on defense. And, you know, I think that my GAC strategy detailed in the other video could really work for you because, like I said, it looks like time is the issue for you. You'll get in, you'll do a battle, and you'll realize that your opponent has a much higher score, and you just won't be able to defeat them in time, or you're on a tight schedule and stuff like that. So I would definitely consider setting a much tougher defense and just saving your offensively minded teams. This is because when you see that your opponent has attacked you and finished attacking and they only have 400 banners, it's a lot less threatening than when your opponent has attacked you and they have 1,400 banners. When they've got 1,400 banners, you know that you've almost got no chance of winning in a reasonable amount of time, and you're going to need to put a whole 40 minutes to clear your opponent in GAC if you really want to do well. And compared to when your opponent has 400 banners, that's a matter of clearing 6 teams or just taking one zone and a couple squads out behind that. And that makes GAC a lot less overwhelming. Also, you should definitely put your Jabba on defense. Let's talk about some characters farming in Omicrons. There are a couple characters in your roster that you're missing. I definitely say Embo and Juhani, as you have Starkiller and Jabba, and these two characters have amazing Omicrons, as well as they're just amazing support characters in general that take both of those teams from being very, very good to nearly unbeatable for most average players. Now, I would definitely recommend on your agenda getting both these characters up to Gear 13, Relic 5 to 7 with their Omicrons. You will see a huge difference in your Territory War performance as well as your Grand Arena performance with these two characters. Next is Visas Mars. Again, she is a great support character for Starkiller, so I would certainly recommend getting her up to 13. And lastly is the Armorer. She's decent, and you have Sith Eternal Emperor, but she's just kind of low in your roster. I know she's usable at lower gear, but from a survivability sense, if you're trying to counter Supreme Leader Kylo Ren or Jedi Master Kenobi with an Armorer that's not quite Gear 13, in a lot of cases, she's just going to get picked off a lot quicker than you'd like with an AoE ability, which is going to leave you unable to apply those ingots to yourself. Lastly, a good Omicron for your account that I didn't mention was Rebel Officer Leia Organa. You have her at Relic 3. I see no problem with taking her up to Relic 7 because she almost guarantees a full 2 out of 2 on every single combat mission that you're going to take her into. She is also probably the most fun character to play with in Rise of the Empire. I love using her because I know that I'm going to win those missions, and Rise of the Empire is such a frustrating game mode. It's nice to have a squad in there that helps you win almost 100% of the time. Let's talk about mods and Datacrons. I went through a lot of your characters' mods, and overall, as I said before, most of them are very, very, very good. A few things I would note is that your cat could use a little bit more speed. A couple of her mods are only around 15 speed secondaries. You could bump those up fairly easily and get your cat a little faster. Second, your Droideka is abnormally fast, and I would definitely get a crit damage mod on him and increase the offense a little bit. Third, your Moff Gideon's a little bit slow. Again, a few more speed mods on him. Maybe you could take him straight from Droideka. Third, you should remod your Zam. She's got a lot of 5-dot mods that are blue on her, and you have the Omicron. So if you really want to take that team to the next level, your mods on Zam Wesell can certainly drastically improve the usability of her Omicron. Lastly, your gas, you have a modded for a little bit of speed, well, a speed set on him. I would definitely recommend offense and protection, as you don't necessarily want him going super quickly with the clones lineup. You just want him to counterattack a lot and do a lot of damage. Second is your Datacrons. This Datacron set and this Datacron set that we have out currently is going to be extremely good for players' offensive viability, as well as the last Datacron set that is still Datacron set 9 is very, very good for people's defensive viability. So I would definitely consider farming more Datacrons, as you have about 6 Datacrons in your roster, and 3 of them I would consider are pretty good. So I definitely focus on farming more 15 health and percent Datacrons to help on defense, with defense percentage bonuses and health and protection bonuses. Lastly, you have a lot more relics than Datacrons. In your roster, you've got about 97 relic characters, and if you do a little math, that's about, you have the potential to use about 20 Datacrons between those 97 characters. So I would certainly recommend pushing your Datacron number up to about 20, so that every single squad that you can use in Grand Arena and Territory War that has relic characters is going to be dignified with a Datacron, as Datacrons with this new Conquest Symbol update are pretty easy to farm and very, very, very helpful in both offense and defense. They make your teams a lot trickier to counter, and they give you a lot more steam on offense. It can take a team from being able to barely counter an opponent to being able to walk over them easily, giving you added confidence in your game mode. If I were you, there's a few things that I would do. First, farming-wise, you're very close to Profundity and Jedi Master Luke. I would definitely finish those characters off, as they're going to take your roster up another spot, up another level. Next, work on your Inquisitors. This is coming not just as your guild leader, but the Inquisitors are actually not a bad farm, because as you're working on the Chirotechs, you are accruing the relic materials needed to take them straight to Relic 7, which is really nice because nothing's more frustrating than gearing a character up to gear 13 and then sitting there for a week before you can take it up to Relic because you didn't have those materials farmed. Since the Inquisitors take so long to take up to gear 13, by the time you get there, you're going to have all the Relic materials saved. Lord Vader is another one on the list. You're already headed in that direction. You're pretty close to him, relatively speaking. And he is really, really, really going to help when the guild gets Reva. So any Lord Vader would be greatly, greatly, greatly increased in value right when the guild gets Reva. Lastly, you've got Boba Fett, Sign of Django. I think I've seen recently that he's a really, really, really solid team. And you're pretty close on a couple of characters. You'd only need to gear Boba Fett, IG-11, and Queel. And these three characters would make a very, very, very solid S-tier team that you could use in Territory War and Grand Arena. Lastly, Datacrons, a little bit of advice on farming Datacrons. To get your Datacron situation more sorted out, I'd invest every day in 350 crystal refreshes for Conquest Energy. I'd use 2 refreshes for 8 to 9 days farming Datacron materials. I have a little guide here that I stole from someone. You definitely want to farm nodes 1, nodes 3, and nodes 4. Don't farm nodes 2 and nodes 5. Those are largely a waste. And if you do this for 8 to 9 days, preferably towards the end of Conquest, you're going to have a lot more success in your Datacron growth, and this is going to allow you to perform well in other aspects of the game. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, this is my first roster review, and I'll be doing many of these in the future, hopefully. So if there's any constructive criticism that you can give me, I'm happy to take that in the comments down below. And if you're interested in a roster review, post your GG in the comments, and I'd be happy to supply. Lastly, a little guild plug. If you're interested in joining the guild that gets the most Reva shards under 400 million GP, come check out my guild. Discord link in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.